Hi guys, it's Buy My Phone Case Mojo. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to... It's literally instant karma for being a stupid bitch. Hi guys, it's Hannah Mojo. I'm on tour right now. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm filming in a shitty hotel room. I literally discombobulated and broke a lamp to have decent lighting for this video to a horrible start. But I am so excited to finally tell you guys this story today. Not because I want to tell the story. Matter of fact, the other day I was telling this story to someone and I got so legitimately angry just telling the story to like one other human being face to face that I had to like take deep breaths. Like I got so fucking mad. But I'm excited to tell you guys this story because I have been promising it to you for like months now, and in all of the comments of all of my videos you guys are like, where is the eviction story? Like, are you running out of story time? She's running out of story times. Tell us the eviction story. I never hear the end of the eviction story, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Hi, I'm Tana and I run away from my problems. I don't want to tell this story and I've put it off for the longest time, but I feel like as my friends I owe you guys this. I want you guys to understand what happened and my current living situation and why I'm going insane. And I've been seeing so many comments lately saying I got evicted because of the trampoline in my living room, and that's just like adding to my insanity because that's not why I got evicted at all. I need to talk about it, okay? So I'm just gonna hop right into the story, but before I do, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that little bell to turn your notifications on. Follow all my social media for when I'm not posting. And for everyone asking me why I have not been uploading on this channel as much lately, I've been daily vlogging. I'm a daily vlogger now. Jake Paul and David Dobrik are on fucking stretchers. They're doing just fine, actually. But I've been uploading every single day on my second channel, so if you haven't seen those already, that's like 10 videos that you've missed out on. You should go binge watch them. Subscribe. I'm a daily vlogger now. Let's get into the story. So I used to live in this loft with Isabella. We lived there for probably like 6-7 months. We had a great time. It was really dope living there, but it was very expensive for a very small amount of space. When we moved in there, the security was really good, and that was one of the big reasons why I moved in. And then over time, the security started to get kind of shitty. All of the amenities started to get really shitty. All of the things we were promised were just kind of like slowly dissipating. I was overpaying a lot of money but not getting my money's worth. And then conveniently right around that time, Maya and Ashley hit me up and they were like, hey, basically Ashley was breaking up with her ex-boyfriend and they were on really shitty terms and he's kind of a dick, so he was like kicking them out of his and their house, so they had nowhere to live, so they were like, can we stay with you for a little bit? So Maya and Ashley move in, and now me, Ashley, Maya, and Bella all live in my little loft. And Lumen and like our 5 other friends that were always over. It was just way too much for a space meant for like 2 people, if that makes sense. And so conveniently, my lease was coming to an end at the loft. So basically my loft complex then said to me, you can either renew your lease for an entire year, which would mean I would be locked in to live there for another year, or you can keep living here for a little bit and pay month to month, but if you pay month to month rent, your rent is gonna be way more money. So I didn't want to do either one of those things. I also really wanted to move out. My lease was coming to an end. Basically, I had like a month to get the fuck out of this loft because I didn't want to do any of the options that they were offering me. So for an entire month, I'm in this giant frantic rush to find another place to live. There was literally just nothing. Like nothing on my side of town, nothing with enough bedrooms for all of us. I hate carpet because Lumen likes to shred it, so I wanted something with like tile. I couldn't find anywhere to live and the clock was ticking down and I was gonna have to renew this lease I didn't want to be in, and I was getting super stressed out. We'd contacted realtors, we'd looked on real estate websites, like there was nothing. And then like 5 days before I had to move out, someone gave me the bright idea of checking Craigslist for houses for rent. And any other time in life, I feel like I would have been more opposed to this, but I was very desperate. I needed a place to live. What does it hurt to check? Whatever. So we hop on Craigslist, and I kid you not, one of the first houses that was on this list of rentals, like there are thousands and thousands of houses for rent on this page of Craigslist, and one of the first like 3 was this house. Immediately looking through the pictures, it fit every single one of the things I would want for like my dream home, if that makes sense. At this point, I was desperate. I would have settled for like a house I didn't even really love. I just wanted to move out and live in a house. If a house would have been in like the right area of town, or like had the right bedrooms, or maybe didn't have carpet, or just like one of those things, I would have been inclined to settle for that. But this house was literally my dream house. Like had everything I wanted. Was like my perfect color scheme, giant kitchen with a beautiful island, insanely huge master with a huge bathtub, huge closet, like huge bedroom, a backyard for Lumen to run around, not that much carpet so Lumen couldn't destroy it. It was literally in my dream neighborhood. I remember growing up being poor and all of my rich friends living in this fucking neighborhood and me being like, I want to live there one day. Like, I want to live in that neighborhood. I will consider myself like successful once I live in that neighborhood. Like, what are the odds, you know? And then on top of it all, this house was in the most highly secure neighborhood in all of Las Vegas. Guard gated everywhere. Like, police patrol cars just patrol the neighborhood like 24/7. The safety factor was such a giant step up from where I was living before. It was like mind-blowing. And I originally moved into that loft because they were supposed to be high security, and then they weren't at all. And like right before I moved out, there was so many crazy things going on with like my stalker and like people breaking in and all that kind of crazy shit. To find somewhere that was not only perfect but the highest security money could buy was like mind-blowing to me, you know what I mean? So you guys get the point. Like, just my perfect dream home. And on top of it being my perfect dream home, the rent was like less than half of my normal budget. Like literally 60% off what I was willing to pay for rent. So I would have been saving so much money. And the rent was cheaper than the loft I was living in currently. So I was getting 10 times the house for like what I was paying for this little loft for less money. It was a literal mind fuck to me, and it definitely was one of those things where I should have stepped back and been like, is this too good to be true? But I didn't. So I end up having to go out of town, and Maya and Ashley go and look at the house, and they call me and they're like, yo, you need to come back to Vegas. You need to come look at this house. It's perfect. Like, it's your dream home. Like, come look at it. So I fly back into Vegas just to go see this house. I show up to the house. I drive in. The security's incredible. The neighborhood is beautiful. The view from the house is gorgeous. Like, I haven't even walked in this house and I already know I'm going to be in love with it. And so we pull up to the house. We walk through the front door, and I literally remember standing there in the like foyer area. I haven't seen the kitchen, haven't seen the living room, haven't seen the master, haven't seen anything, and being like, I'll take it. Like, I want this house. It's perfect. It's flawless, whatever. So the landlord walks up. He's in the house with me. He literally shows me the kitchen and the living room, and I'm like, you don't even have to show me the rest of the house. I want it. Like, I don't want to waste your time. What do I have to do to get this house? I will do it, whatever it is. I need to move in like 5 days. What can I do to have this house? And so as we're walking around talking to him, we all notice that there's a lot of whoever lived there prior's stuff in the house. And we're like, why is someone's stuff still here if the house is for rent? And so then the landlord was like, they moved out because there was lightning damage. So they moved out really quickly, and they're coming back to get it tomorrow. All of the stuff will be out of the house. When I tell that sentence to people, that like that grown man looked at me and said that there was lightning damage and that's why someone moved out, and I still was just like, oh, okay, sick. Sorry that happened to their stuff. Like, can I sign the lease now? I die a little inside at my own fucking stupidity. This man just told me in Las Vegas, Nevada, where it rains like once a year, never any lightning, let alone lightning that does any damage to anything, that people moved out of this house because lightning damaged their stuff. And like, if lightning damaged their stuff, like the house would be damaged too, but the house was just fine. I'm just so fucking stupid. So he tells me that, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's fine. Like, I'll move in, like, whatever. And so then he's like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I'm a little apprehensive about renting to someone with little to no credit history. Like, you're 18 years old. Everyone I've ever rented to was like 40 with like 4 kids. This neighborhood is full of a lot of old people. Like, I don't know if you're the right fit personality wise for this house, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I want you to know, like, even though I'm 18, I am responsible when it comes to this stuff. I will always pay my rent on time. I'm out of town 3/4 of the month anyways. Like, I won't be here to be like causing damage. Even though I'm young, I'm not like a party thrower. Like, I'm never gonna have like hundreds of people in this house. I don't have kids who are gonna like ruin anything. Please rent this house to me. What do I have to do? So then him and I came to a consensus that I would pay him 3 months rent in advance, because apparently the landlord's financial security shows responsibility. I was completely fine with it. Like, if that was all it took for me to move into my dream home and get out of this loft in like 5 days, like, of course I'll give you 3 months rent in advance, whatever. So he pulls the lease out. I look over it, but very vaguely, which was such a giant mistake. Everything looks peachy keen. He then tells me that I don't have to change the utilities over to my name, such as lighting, water, electricity. He'll leave them in his name, and every month on top of my rent, I can just add $500 to pay for all of the utilities, and like, he'll pay it. Which is such a fucking ridiculous, stupid, in-your-face, giant, 100,000 foot sized red flag. Because first of all, this house was like 4,000 square feet. The electricity bill alone is gonna be like $600 or $700. Especially because I keep my house on like 68 degrees because I hate being hot. I need to be freezing cold at all times. Or if I'm freezing cold, I want it on like 84 degrees. Like I am a balls deep ass bitch. Fuck a 73 ass house. It's one extreme or the other, which means electric bills for me are often very high. So for him to cap not only the electric bill, but the water bill, which 5 people lived in this house, we're all showering 24/7, drinking the water 24/7. And every night I sleep with all of the lights on because I'm a pussy ass bitch. Like all of my bills were just asking to be high. And here's this man being like, no, I'll keep them in my name. Pay me $500 a month. Like even though it's gonna be like $1,200 in bills, it's fine. And so me being the dumb, young, naive teenager human that I was at the time, I was like, oh my God, what a steal. Of course we can do that. Let's leave them all in your name. No big deal. Fuck any proof that I ever lived in this house. Fuck any proof of me paying my bills on time in case I ever, God forbid, get evicted. So I go ahead and I sign the lease. Literally over the next 2 days, he gives me all of my keys, my garage clickers, my gate clickers, all of my stuff to apply for the proper security living there, etc. And I never see him again, but like, we'll get into that later. He disappears from the picture. So then over the course of the next few days, I move all of my things into this house. And I can't even say this without feeling such genuine, deep sadness. But the next few months were genuinely the best few months of my life. Living there was nothing short of a dream. I remember 3 months in, feeling like the beginning of March, being like, good God, my life is so together. My house is organized. My stuff is finally all unpacked. I finally have room for everything. I live with all of my best friends. All of our rooms are super nice. Lumen has a backyard. My closet is huge. I come home from LA and I walk into my beautiful fucking giant home that I pay way too little for. And I feel so happy. Like I'm saving so much money. I love where I live. The security was incredible. So on top of being so happy, this was like the safest I'd felt living in a house since I lived with my parents. I was always having my friends over, and because the house was so big, we weren't getting complaints or anything. Like we were all just like super happy living there. My friends were over every day. Like my life was so perfect, and I can honestly accredit a giant portion of that to my living situation finally feeling like perfect, if that makes sense. Obviously my life is great, my friends are great, you guys are great, this is all great, but I'm saying this was the first time where I genuinely was like, holy shit, my living situation is perfect. Like I want to live in this house for the next 10 years. Like I want to fucking get married and raise my kids in this house. I'm so happy. Fuck my life, dude. But while living there, every once in a while, random people would show up to collect their mail or collect their stuff. The day that I rented the house, my landlord told me that only one person lived there before me. The house got built, he moved in, he moved out, he rented it to one person. They moved out because of lightning damage. And then I moved in. But over the course of living there, so many random people kept showing up to get their mail, or random people's mail were sent to my house. It became very clearly evident to me that like at least 4 to 5 different sets of people had lived in that house that all weren't correlating with each other. Like it was very clear to me that I was receiving the mail of like a young couple, and then there was like a giant family and all of their stuff, and then the lightning damaged people, and then just random like single lady, like it was just all random people, and that never added up to me. But again, like I was looking at the world with like rose-colored glasses. Like here I am living in this beautiful house for way too fucking cheap, and I'm finally happy. I'm not gonna look for things wrong.
And if you guys think about it, house was literally a year old. Like all of these people couldn't have lived there for a full year lease. What the fuck?
And normally I've always had really good relationships with my landlord or companies that I rent from and stuff like that. And I just felt like every time I would talk to the landlord on the phone that he was kind of sketchy or wishy-washy or just an overall weird dude. The way that he talked would drive me insane. Like he was the type of person that would call you about something and then you would talk to him, and the entire time you were talking, he would just be like, yeah, okay, yeah. So here's my standpoint. And then he would talk, and then you would talk, and the whole time you'd be like, okay, yeah. But like a yes man, like wouldn't let you talk, which drives me insane. I hate people who interrupt people. I hate people who talk over people. Like how hard is it to just say something and then like listen to someone and then say something? I'm getting off on a tangent. I hate this man. I'm very angry. I'm sorry. So earlier in the story, I told you guys how I paid 3 months rent in advance. Remember that. So I started my lease and I started living there in January, which means I paid January's rent and utilities, February's rent and utilities, and March's rent and utilities. So that meant that come April 1st, I owed him a new month of rent because the 3 months rent that I paid had been paid off. And in the lease, him and I came to an agreement, a signed signed, documented agreement that says every month on the 1st, I would owe him rent. So I'm in Mexico on March 24th, and I get a phone call from my landlord. So I'm answering the phone, just expecting it to be like a random call, whatever. I'm like, hello? He's like, hey, just letting you know your rent is 3 days late. So I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean my rent is 3 days late? And he's like, well, I'm deciding now that every month your rent is due on the 21st. It's the 24th, so your rent is 3 days late. And so I'm like, you can't do that. Like, I paid you 3 months rent in advance. The month of March isn't even up, and I paid you the full rent. So like, how could I owe you more rent for March when I paid off all 30 days of March by giving you rent in advance? Even if you were gonna do that, like, couldn't you implement it on April 21st? Like, this makes no sense. Like, the month that I paid for isn't even up yet. And you and I agreed that rent was gonna be due on the 1st of every month. Like, what are you talking about type thing? And he was like, well, in the fine print of your lease that you signed, I said that at any point, if I wanted to change the due date of your rent, I could. Which, first of all, is such a weird clause to put in fine print of a lease. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Secondarily, why? Why would you want to do that? I don't, like, I can't even think of a weird logical reason of him wanting to do that. Also, why would you wait until I'm 3 days late in your weird fucking new rent terms to tell me that I'm late? Like, why didn't you call me on like the 15th of this month and be like, yo, rent's due on the 21st now? And like, my dumb ass still would have fucking obliged to that, no question, because I was loving where I was living, you know? Like, it's not like I'm trying to like not pay my rent. And so I say all of this to him, and he's like, well, like, I just think it would be easier for me and you if it was due every month on the 21st. And so I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm in Mexico right now. I have no way to get you that check on time in any way. It's already technically late. I have no idea how to get it to you like today or tomorrow. Like, I'm in Mexico. If it's really that big of a deal to you, I can have my mom mail you a check or something. Like, I don't want you to be upset with me for any reason. And so then he's like, no, like, I'm just letting you know, like, I really trust you. Like, everything is fine. Like, have a great time in Mexico. Don't worry about it. I think you're a great girl. I think you're really responsible. Like, I was just calling you to let you know. So hopefully next month it's not late. Like, just when you get home, like, mail me your rent check. Like, everything's fine. And like, this conversation went on for like 30 minutes of him just telling me like how much he trusts me and like how he was just like letting me know. I told you guys earlier he was a yes man and he never stopped talking and he never shut the fuck up. So this conversation just went on and on and on. And I'm like, okay, don't worry. Like, I'll pay you as soon as I get home, blah, 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 blah. Ashley, Maya, and Bella were all sitting there for this entire conversation. Like, he was on speaker. So we're all like, okay, dope, we're fine. Like, we'll just pay the rent when we get home. This man is obviously a little fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, why did you change the rent date? But like, we're gonna oblige. We love where we live, whatever. So now it comes to the last day of us being in Mexico. I want to say it was March 26th. We get a call from Maya's husband, Yayan. Yayan ended up staying at my house while we were in Mexico to watch the house, to watch Lumen. He also can't go to Mexico because he's fucking British and doesn't have like the right green card yet. So like, he just had to stay in the US at my house. And so he calls me and he's like, hey, just letting you know, like, there's a 5-day notice on the door that basically says if you don't pay your rent in 5 days, you're gonna get evicted. So I call my landlord and I'm like, hey, you said everything was fine. Why would you send me this notice to evict me? Like, you know I'm in Mexico. I told you if you really needed the rent, like, I could have had my mom pay it. I'm not out here not trying to pay rent at all. Like, as you know, I'm on time with like everything when it comes to that stuff. You said you trusted me. Why would you do that to me? And so immediately he's like, I'm so sorry. That must have been an accident. We just like filed it right when it was due before I called you. Which, like, why would you, like, change the date of rent being due? Me not know about it. So obviously I'm not gonna pay it. I have no idea it's even happening. I have no idea about this little dick-ass clause in the lease that I even signed for. And then just file for eviction? Like, that makes no sense, you know? And so I'm like, okay, so you're not trying to evict me, right? I get home from Mexico literally in, like, 8 hours. I will mail you the rent check. I'll pay a late fee, which I shouldn't even have to pay anyways, because it's still not even April 1st yet, and I paid for the entire month of March, but I'm out here just, like, eating this motherfucker's ass because I love where I live. He's like, it was a complete accident. I'm so sorry. Again, I trust you so much. Like, just mail me the check when you get home. I promise you everything's fine. It was a serious accident. Like, we love you. And then he goes on this long ass tangent about how like he's rich as shit and he like doesn't even need the money and he like rents out a bunch of houses. Is telling me that he just rents this one out for fun and like he doesn't even care about the money. He just cares about people being timely and respectful, but he thinks I'm like the most timely, respectful 18-year-old he's ever met. Blah, blah, fucking blah. We suck each other's dicks for like 30 minutes on the fucking phone. I go go home from Mexico. I mail him a check for my rent. So then, like 3 days go by. I think everything is peachy fucking keen. Like I overnighted this fucking check. Like this motherfucker is sitting there rolling around in my money by this point. Like everything should be fine. It's still not even April 1st, the date that my rent was technically due. Like he got his money early from what he normally... I'm having head pains. So then I get another notice on my door that says 3-day notice to pay rent or exit the premises. So I call him and I'm like, yo, what the fuck, dude? I overnighted you a fucking check. It should be there by now. It's still not even April 1st. You told me the last eviction notice was an accident. So why would I be getting another one? What the fuck is going on? He hits me with the same fucking spiel. Like at this point, I could be talking to like a pre-recorded set of 10 phrases that are like, I trust you. It was an accident. I rent this house out for fun. I don't need the money. We think you're so respectful and responsible. Love renting to you. Thanks for mailing the check, Tana. Rent is now due on the 21st. Just letting you know. Sorry about the confusion. We talk it out. Everything's fine. He says he hasn't gotten my check yet, but he trusts that I mail it. He never meant for the second eviction notice to go through. It must be an accident. Everything's fine. Basically, enjoy your fucking month. Like, hasta luego, bitch. Like, adios, motherfucker. Talk to you next month. So I think everything is great. And now I am leaving for Australia in 2 days. And I'm about to go to Australia for a month. So I'm super focused on shopping for Australia, preparing myself, filming extra videos to get ahead, and I finally get home, and it is now the night before, the day before I leave for Australia. So I get home to all of my friends sitting around my kitchen island with a notice in their hands. And so I walk up to them and I'm like, guys, what's wrong? And basically it's a piece of paper that in super fucking what the fuck, I dropped out of high school and don't understand this, unnecessary, big worded lawyer terms says 24 hours to exit the premises. You've been evicted. This is the point where I lost my mind. Like this is the point where like to this day I have like full on brain damage. Like I have full on brain damage from that moment in my life. I will never forget standing there reading that and the amount of like dumbfounded anger I had standing there. I call my landlord and at this point I'm just like drained. Like I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. I have no pitch or tone or range in emotion in my voice to him. I'm literally just like, hey, so we received a 3rd eviction notice. I paid you. Do you want me to get the fuck out? Could you just give me like 2 weeks if you want me to leave? I don't think if this was an accident, I would have gotten a 3rd one. Just tell me what you want me to do. And so then he's just like, you sound so upset. Like I got your rent check today. They probably just followed through with it. Like I don't know. But it's all an accident. Don't worry. We'll get this squared away. Everything's gonna be fine. He's like, Tana, you have nothing to worry about. Like I got your check. Chuckling. Giggling, if you will. This is all just a funny little bit in his life. We're just little puppets on his fucking string and he's just enjoying it to the max. While I'm over here like, so do you want me to get the fuck out? I'm like, okay, I leave for Australia in like 48 hours. I don't have any giggle in me. Like you are telling me right now, face to face over the phone, I am not evicted. This is all an accident. You have my rent check. We are just fine. And he's like, yeah, I trust you. You're responsible. I don't think you would pay your rent late. I love renting to you. Talk to you next month. And so I'm like, okay, bye. And we look up all of the terms on the paper that was like put on our garage and we somehow all convince ourselves that it doesn't say we have to get out in 24 hours. Our landlord isn't crazy and everything is just fine. And so that night, what I later would find out would be the last night in my house, was a really great night. We jumped on the trampoline. We hung out with all of our friends. I got one really good last night with all of my best friends in my house before I went to Australia. We drank a little. We filmed this video. Look how fucking happy I look, first of all. I had it so good. We're all up until like 4 or 5 in the morning. The sun begins to rise. We filmed that video. Everyone basically decides it's time for them to go to bed. But me, I was now leaving for Australia in like 24 hours. Like I needed to pack. I needed to film like 3 videos. I had so many other things to do. So I was like, I'm not gonna go to sleep. Like, good night, everyone. So everyone goes upstairs into their bed and I'm sitting in my room filming a psychic coincidences video. The very first psychic coincidences video, might I add. And mid filming this video, I just feel super weird all of a sudden. I feel like something really bad is about to happen. And so I pause the video, I FaceTime Summer, I'm talking to him, I'm like something really shitty is about to happen to me, but I don't know what. And I'm sitting there like weighing out my life. I'm like, everything is perfect. Like my living situation is perfect. My friends are perfect. Like love life is perfect. Family's perfect. I'm going to Australia. Business is perfect. Everything is great. What could go wrong? And then I'm like, the rent check, the eviction saga. Something is off with that, and that's why I feel like this. And so I sit back down, I film the rest of my psychic coincidences video, and after filming that video, in the pit of my stomach, I'm like, I need to do something. Like all of a sudden I just feel like something horrible is about to happen and I need to do something. So I call my landlord, go straight to voicemail, and I'm like, hey. And at this point it's probably like 7:30, almost 8 in the morning, because I'd been up filming all night. My friends didn't go to bed till like 5. The sun was coming up. So I'm like, I know it's really early in the morning. I'm so sorry to bother you. I know that just last night you told me everything was fine. I might just sound like a crazy person, but like I feel like something's wrong. I don't know why I would have gotten 3 eviction notices. I sent you my money. If you could just give me a call back to reassure me, that would be great. Again, I'm really sorry for bothering you. 30 minutes go by, and for those 30 minutes I'm just like packing for Australia. I'm very frantic. I'm just in a horrible mood. I feel like something bad is about to happen. And then my landlord texts me. So it was like 8:10 in the morning, and he texts me and he says, I'm so sorry. I should have told you sooner. I just really want my house back. The constable will be there to lock your doors at 9. So then I look up what that means, what a constable is, what all that kind of stuff is. And basically a constable is a person that deals with severe evictions where people won't get out of their house and they come in. They're also like a police officer, and like if you don't leave your house willingly, they make you leave, and then they drill giant locks on all of your doors and windows so that you can't get in your house. I basically text back, I don't know what the fuck I did to you. This has to be some kind of cruel, sick fucking joke. I paid you my rent. You told me you received my rent check. I literally told you yesterday, if you want me to get the fuck out, I will. Like, it's your house. I'm not gonna live somewhere where someone doesn't want me to live. Give me 5 days. I'll put all my shit in storage. I don't know why you would tell me that someone's gonna be at my house to forcibly remove me from my house. Like, I'm some kind of like unruly person who's telling you I won't get the fuck out. Like, why would you do this to me? And he's like, I'm so sorry it had to be this way. Like, I'll personally come in like a month or so and put all of your stuff in storage for you. Like, hopefully you can find a place to live. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I want my stuff now. I need my stuff now. I'm leaving for Australia in like 20 hours. I just start bawling my eyes out and immediately run out of my room, run up to all my friends' rooms, shake them awake one by one. And I'm like, yo, we have to get out in 45 minutes. And they're all like, wait, what the fuck? Like, we were just fine like 10 hours ago. And I'm like, police are gonna be here in like 45 minutes to get us the fuck out. So get up. So all of us are up. We're all just like crying, freaking out because we have nowhere to live. All of our stuff is gonna be like trapped in this house by this man and the police. I'm leaving for Australia in 20 hours. So I have to pack for Australia in this time too. I'm trying to get everything that means anything to me, because it's common when people evict people that like the landlord will come in your house and like take your nice shit because like they can get away with it. So like I'm trying to pack everything expensive and nice I have. I'm calling my dad, who is the only person in my life who has a truck, which I really could have used at that time because I wanted to just throw like boxes and trash bags of shit into a truck. My dad is basically being like, should have paid your rent on time. Like, I'm not coming there, which like I didn't even not pay my rent on time. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. My mom shows up. We're loading shit into her car. Her and I are like fighting out of stress. And so then 9 o'clock rolls around. These police officers come in my house and I'm like, is there anything I can do? Can I have another hour to pack my stuff? Is there anything I can do for you to give me more time or whatever? And he basically tells me like the only way you could get more time is if your landlord or someone close to your landlord approves it. My landlord texts me telling me he's blocking my number and is sending me a PDF file of everything I need to know about this, and that will be like the last he ever hears from me. He's just gonna put my stuff into a storage unit and he'll come give me the key. That like this all happened because I didn't pay my rent on the 21st, and then even though I didn't know, like he wrote that clause in the lease, I'm still in the wrong basically. I am devastated. Everything I worked so hard for, like everything, finally felt at peace. I'm leaving for Australia, so I can't even like go look for a new place to live. All 4 of the people who live with me have nowhere else to live. They live with me. Yayan is literally from England. Maya can't move in with her family. Like, Ashley's parents live in fucking California. Like, everyone lives with me and they now have nowhere to live. Also, my dog, like, I'm going to Australia. Like, I can't handle any of this. And so basically, we all just grab our stuff and the police make us leave our house. They're drilling the locks on our door. We're loading stuff into our car. And as we're doing that, we notice that there is this woman standing outside of the front of my house, like in the steps before the entryway of my house, like just crying. Like, there is this little old woman crying on my porch steps. And so I walk up to her and I'm like, can I help you? Like, why are you crying, girl? Like, you want to share some stories? Because, like, I'll tell you why I'm crying. Like, you can tell me why you're crying. And so she doesn't really speak any English. She speaks very broken to little English and she's bawling her eyes out. And she's like, I'm so sorry we had to do this to you. You're a really sweet girl. I'm so sorry for my son, blah, blah, blah. So it becomes prevalent to me that she is the mom of my landlord. And so then I'm like, oh my God, like, you're the mom of my landlord. Like, this officer just told me that if you tell him to give me more time, I can have more time. And, like, I already paid my rent, so, like, could I have a day? And so the officer comes over and he looks at her and she's bawling her eyes out and he's like, if you want, miss, like, you can give them another hour. Like, it looks like they just found out about this. Or, like, you could give them another day. All of their stuff is still inside. Do you want to give them another hour? And she literally just stops crying and is like, no. And I'm just standing there like, but, like, you were just crying and now he, like, what? You said you were sorry, like, you can't help me. And then she's like, no, sorry, I can't help you. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So then I just get in the car. I'm, like, bawling my eyes out. My mom somehow reasons with her to let us get our own stuff in, like, a week instead of the landlord getting our stuff, which was really awesome. So we get in the car. My dad lives in a 3-story townhome with an empty bedroom and an empty living room. And of course, he wouldn't let anyone stay there. No tea, no shade, like, love my dad, but, like, that just made things a million times harder. So then me, Yayan, Maya, Ashley, and Bella all are staying in my mom's 1-bedroom, like 800 square feet apartment. And we're all sitting in there and I'm like, okay, I have T-minus 18 hours until I have to leave for Australia. So I start packing all my stuff. Thankfully, I went shopping the few days before, so I had all of that new stuff. And then I'm like, okay, well, my mom already lives in this apartment complex, so why don't I just right now go over to the leasing office and just try to apply for an apartment in this apartment complex today so that my friends have a place to live for the next month that I'm in Australia, so that I can put all my stuff there so that my mom doesn't have to deal with this. So I walk over to the leasing office and literally just sit down and I'm like, I'll just take your biggest apartment. Can you give it to me? And so they're like, luckily we have one left. Of course you can apply for it right now. Like, I'm sure you'll get approved. Like, your income is very substantial for, like, a small apartment complex like this. Like, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't get approved. So I sit down in this leasing office and I apply for an apartment. I file all of these papers. I give her all of my identification, whatever. The lady looks at me and says, unfortunately, not only can I not approve you for this apartment, but you would be wasting your time if you applied for any apartment, townhome, condo, anything under a leasing property place in Las Vegas, because we all use the same system. And unfortunately, our system shows that you have an eviction, which is grounds for an automatic turn down application. So then I pack up all my stuff and in like 10 hours, I am literally contractually obligated to leave for Australia. So I hop on the plane to Australia, having nowhere to live, all of my stuff in a storage unit, no idea who's watching my dog, no idea how I'll even get a new place to live. Heart broken. 10 days into me being in Australia, I realized that A, I can't apply for anywhere to live because I'm in Australia. B, I can't apply for anywhere to live because I'm not going to get approved. So we have to get an apartment in my mom's name, say that only her and Maya live there, and apply for it at one of the shittiest apartment complexes ratings wise in my entire city, because that's the only place that will even accept this far-fetched psycho idea of like 5 people living in a 3-bedroom apartment under the name of someone who doesn't even live there, and the person paying the rent can't even be on the lease because they won't get approved. So not only did my landlord fuck me out of somewhere to live, fuck my entire rental and credit history, fuck the state of all of my nice ass furniture and all of my things that are now in a storage unit, but he just kind of fucked me for life, or at least the next 5 years. So I come home from Australia to learn that my apartment is, and has been since they moved in, infested with bugs, and that the entire complex is. So it has to get sprayed all the time. My washer and dryer are broken. 5 people live in this 3-bedroom apartment. Like, it's just miserable as is, and a dog. Ashley and I share a room. Nothing works. The stove is like fucked up, janky electric. Like, it's just a shitty fucking apartment. And so I still live there. The entire apartment itself is just filled with boxes boxes because there's no room for any of my stuff, because I had a 5-bedroom, 4,000 square foot house of things that I'm now trying to fit into an 1,100 square foot 3-bedroom apartment. It doesn't work. I am truly miserable. My bed frame doesn't even fit in my room, so I just have a mattress on the floor, and my closet has 5 shirts hanging up because that's all it holds. While it is a first world problem, while I am grateful that I am even able to be moved out at 18 and live with my friends and live in an apartment, to go from my dream home that I loved with everything in me to the exact opposite, like my worst nightmare home, have a fucked credit history, a fucked rental history, not be able to move anywhere else unless some landlord is nice enough to hear this story and feel sorry for me, have none of my stuff because it's all in a storage unit. My dog has no yard. Like, you get the point. Like, one extreme to another. It is so upsetting. So that is my current living situation. I have no idea when it will look up, but hopefully soon. Hopefully 6 months from now I can be moved in to a new house that I love and be happy. Everything in life that happens to you is for a reason, and I'm sure I've learned a lot from this and will learn a lot, and to be a lot more wary of things that are too good to be true and obvious red flags, and not to look at the world with rose-colored glasses. But I despise that I had to learn the lesson this way, because I genuinely don't know what I did to deserve it. I told you guys this story was not going to be funny. It was not going to end in a good way or in a conclusive way, nor was I going to be happy telling it, but y'all motherfuckers wanted to know, and you guys have not shut up about it. So there. To my landlord, if you are watching this, every story I make about people, normally at the end I'm like, don't leave them. Hey, people change, people have bad days, but to do this to a human being, and not only to do it, but to do it while smiling in their face and telling them everything is fine and telling them that you want them to live there, I would respect you so much more, you cowardly little pussy-footed motherfucker, if you could have just said to my face that you wanted your house back. But no, you had to have a fucking constable do it at 9 in the morning before I was leaving for Australia, you goddamn motherfucking piece of shit. I literally hope you burn in hell. Like, if you are watching this, I wish nothing but the worst, most horrible, fucked up things to happen to you for the rest of your life. I hope you stub your toe on every fucking couch. I hope everywhere you go, every time you go to the DMV, there's a long ass line. I hope every single one of your favorite shirts you spill coffee on. I hope every single person you ever date for the rest of your life cheats on you. I hope you get early erectile dysfunction. I hate you. And if you are watching this, I just want you to know, from the bottom of my toes to the top of my fucking scalp, fuck you. Yeah. That's the story of my eviction. That's the story of my horrible, scamming, rat, skeeving, spineless, boneless, cowardly, pussy-footed motherfucking landlord who ruined my life. Temporarily, though. A bitch will bounce back. I hope you guys enjoyed that story, because every single time I tell it, one of my brain cells jumps off the top of my brain and fucking kills itself. So I hope someone got some genuine enjoyment out of my suffering. The next stories I have to tell will be a lot funnier, a lot lighter hearted. I have a really good Uber story to tell you guys. The story of how G-Eazy tried to fuck me when I was like 15. Dr. Phil experience, Teen Choice Awards experience. Lots of really good story times coming up for you guys. But I just had to get this off my chest. So thank you guys so much for watching. Buy my phone case. Make sure to subscribe. Click that little bell. Come meet me on tour. I will talk to you guys in the next video. I love you so very much. You were the only thing keeping me sane. Bye.